So today we're back on the clown car. So got some parts that been showing up all week. Still missing a couple other parts, but we got the Basher Queen's center brace, BQNA320502. So this is gonna replace the factory brace. I have the raw Schifrin carbon fiber drive shafts in there, but like I said, it's hitting that front aluminum really bad. So I do have the Bam Jam, so what it's called, center spool and titanium drive shafts with some O-rings that are going to take out the slop, hopefully, and make this thing smooth. So we might try this. I really don't want to take off the braces, and I'm going to show you why. Here's the Roz Schifrin drive shafts. I do have another pair, and they're super light compared to this. I do have a Flowpax cap pack because of the size. I normally run Ripple Killer, but this is almost half the size of a Ripple Killer. And you got to shout out Flowpax for the nice packaging on this. But if the XLX2 shows some high ripple, we're going to go ahead and throw in this Flowpax, and I'm going to give it a try. And then we have the Scorched RC Rotolock motor mount setup. So I want to give this a shot. RC Guy Garage got one of these and sent me pictures of it, and I've been excited to try this. So we're gonna bust this thing apart. I'm gonna make a few changes to this thing because I think I'm gonna change out that TP motor. I've had that motor custom built to work with an XLX2, but there's another motor I want to try with this mount. But we'll see. At this point, I'm going to, you like the M&Ms? Looks familiar, right? Is this going to be the new M&M car? I don't know, but we'll find out. We're going to have us some peanut M&Ms, some Diet Coke, and we're going to get this thing busted back down, and we're going to do a final assembly on this. So I'm going to check everything. There's some more carbon fiber pieces I'm waiting for that I still got to get on this. I might have some of them, I believe. Yeah, we're going to go from there. So I'm going to get out these Redline batteries, these HD batteries. And these have not been charged up yet. I have not charged these things. They're on storage charge right now for testing. So I'm going to try to make a little bit of room on my table. I've been doing a lot of wrenching lately, and it's almost at that point where we're going to have to start cleaning up my workspace. But let's get this thing going. Let's get this thing apart. Now this does have the game changer regulator on it. I nut and bolted this upper brace. And this is what I was explaining about pulling this this front brace. That if I pull this brace, you see how this just kind of pops in here, and I can bolt it down. If I remove this brace, that doesn't happen, which we will show you here in a minute when I pop that brace out, because I am going to pull it out. I do have a replacement brace coming because I've almost cut that thing in half, and I don't like that at all. So, but if you're not going to run an upper brace, I think those carbon drive shafts will probably work good. If you run it like Roz does, where he removes them. And I think he's not the only one removing them. I think a lot of people are removing these braces. But like I said before, for me, it's not worth the chance. I crash too much. Too many curbs here in California. I don't have dirt to run off into. Wish I did. So the way I have this set up, with the fans and everything, everything's on a connector. So, and then I do have my adapter pieces here, which that's what allows me to so pop out my regulator, and then I can pop the ESC out because I have it on Sherlock, and then it is running over to my receiver. So that's how easy it is to pull out the ESC. And as you see, right here is where I'm having the issue. I've cut this brace almost in half, completely in half, which I'm not too happy about. I thought it was just going to be mild trimming for those drive shafts, like Ross said, but it truly, when you flip this motor mount, doesn't take mild trimming. So we're going to try a little different way. So I'm going to pop this brace out, and then I'm going to show you how much flex that this chassis has once you pop this brace out. And then to rely on that upper brace, which, I mean, you can, but you run the risk of your chassis flexing or bending really easy on any kind of impact. So as you see, the brace is totally unplugged, and at this point I can't get it out. See, that's me prying up on the chassis. Now the way I get this brace out, let me show you. It was a fight getting them in, but I understand why they're made the way that they're made. And like I said, if you want to, the rear works fine. The front, I'm just, you know, like I said, I've had to cut that brace almost in half. But I think if you just remove that front brace altogether, you won't have, oh, don't tell me that bolt's stripped. So this is my whole drive shaft and motor setup. I'll pull these drive shafts out, and you can see where it's still rubbing a little bit on that front drive shaft. Didn't really put any grooves in it, just kind of rubbed the dry carbon. And as you can see, look at my brace. Look at how much of that I've cut away trying to get a shot to that. And that's what I didn't like. I mean, literally, there's no brace there left. See how hard that thing, you have to pry that thing out? And then once you do that, and this is leaving the rear brace in, the support brace, really, you have a lot of flex in this chassis right in the center. So that's my biggest concern, is this flex in this chassis. But if you're not worried about that, like I am, I'd like to have it pretty much rigid. You don't need to worry about it. But the way I did the fans, the extension, the wire, the solder, all this, it makes it real serviceable. And remember, I'm still running a differential in this, which we need to get rid of. And I was waiting for this rotor lock and these drive shafts. So we're going to get that assembled right now. Get this thing busted apart. And then I do have a new one of these that that's not light sanding to me. That's a lot of grinding. So, and it still rubs. So I'm not going to do that. The plastic one would probably be easier. Maybe it's better to put the plastic one in there, but when you shave that much material away from the plastic, it's going to flex even more, so why even have it in there? But we're going to continue on with what I'm trying to do with this build, because I don't only speed run my cars, I drag race them. Whatever I can do with them to have fun with them, that's what I do. It's not a purpose-built strictly drag car. It's not going to be that way, not for me anyway. So got all these spacers and all this stuff in there. Front and rear drive shafts, which are pretty light. The spool is what's heavy. And I mean, the Arrma drive shafts definitely are lighter. So, but we're going to give these a shot. I think they're going to work better for what I'm doing, and hopefully they'll clear, because they are a lot thinner. Let's get this rotor lock thing unpackaged here. Very excited about this mount. Normally I just run the stock mounts, but scorched RC, some decals. We can't forget about those O-rings either, so don't let me forget. And this is kind of a little cool idea to get your gears done. And they got marks on where you can set it. I think it's pretty cool. Like I said, this is the 25mm one, and I do have a 30mm one coming as well for the bigger can motors, because I think I want to put one in the Thunder truck. But very nice quality, really lightweight. Got your hardware. These little things are really cool to get rid of the plastic ones. Got some blue and red Loctite. The red Loctite, the lid was a little loose. So is the blue, and I don't know why. I don't know who keeps playing with my Loctite. Now this should have a ridge for the bearing. And I don't see bearings here. So I'm going to grab some bearings. like this shaft is just a little too big for these bearings to slip on. So this is going to have to go this way. Too loose. It's not like there's many bearing choices. Once I get these bearings on there, the bearings, the center is too tight for this shaft. It doesn't go in, not smoothly anyway. So we're gonna have to force those bearings on or do some sanding to this shaft, which I really don't want to do. Which really sucks. I'm trying different brand bearings, hoping that it's my bearing, but I don't think so, because they're all fitting the same. All the different brand bearings. They fit into here nice. They just don't fit onto this shaft. And I think that's where the Flowpack's center drive shaft deal was a little bit better. Let me grab a gear, see if a gear will slide on. So the gear kind of slides on. I need a bearing there. All right, so at the point of this video, I had spent approximately 4.5 hours dealing with that spool and getting it to work properly. I finally do have it in here. And I've got both drive shafts in. I had to do some shaving right here. I had to do some little bit of shaving to the brace. You can see how hot the shaft got. I ended up having to do a lot of sanding, but ended up getting it working properly, having slop a little bit there and a little bit on the front drive shaft so that I could stick O-rings in there if I choose. But Literally had to take the shaft, stick it into a drill with nothing on it, and take some sandpaper, and for about an hour I sanded on that shaft until the bearings slid on without forcing them. And I guess that's the difference between high quality and eBay quality center spools. I do like the drive shafts. We will take a look. When I flip the motor mount the other way like I had it, because this part is so long, it was facing up in the air, like there was some angle issues. So I don't know what that's about. Flipping this motor mount around is really giving me a high angle to that front drive shaft, and I'm not sure why that is. Something to do with the mount. I'm not really sure. So I ended up flipping it back around. This is a 1717 that I'm going to use for some drag racing. So I'm going to throw the XLX2 in here. We're going to have to move it to this side. And I want to do some drag racing with this, and also do a couple of speed runs with it on this motor. And then we're going to move over to the TP motor that I had custom wound. But I do have some carbon fiber bits that I still need to put in here. I got some end links to put on. Already got the Basher Queen's center brace installed. I'm still waiting for the support brace that goes there to see how it works with this spool and this drive shaft, to make sure I have the clearance with this drive shaft in here. There's not much room over there when it comes to this this center here. So as you can see, and that's probably why a lot of people just remove the brace, I would imagine. The rear, I've never had an issue with the rear, flipping it or anything. I have plenty of room with the rear. It's just the front. So we're going to, and that was another thing, I do have to shave these down a little bit on each side, on both ends. I've always had to do that once the RC is used, and this plastic gets pretty brittle over time, because remember, this one's almost 2 years old now, year and a half, 2 years old. This is the version 1 Infraction. So this plastic tends to squeeze in a little bit here and here, and so I have to do a little bit of shaving to get this brace to go in here. So, but everything's coming together pretty nicely. Definitely like the Basher Queen's side carbon pieces. I could tell that the RC is getting lighter. I do have another new capsule motor coming that I want to try out as well. So I've got a couple of different capsule motors that I want to give a chance. They've got some KVs that I'm interested in seeing and running. Motors that I haven't run from capsule before. I have run this 1717. This one was in my white drag car for a long time, and we did really good drag racing it with this 1650 kV motor. But there we go. Stay tuned, making some changes. I've got the drive line nice and straight now. And hopefully see, it's pretty straight now, but if I take this mount and I flip it around, this drive shaft angle is really high for some reason. Something to do with this spool. I think it's the length of this spool. And I do keep the long part to the rear, and I keep the short one up front, but when I flip the mount and leave the spool like this, there's a huge angle on the front, and I don't know why. But there we go, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for this build, and let's get it done. I'm trying a bunch of new parts, and that's why I'm tearing it apart and putting it together and tearing it apart and putting it together. I'm trying a bunch of people's products out there in this Limitless. Well, Limitless, it's my infraction, because I want to see what's the best way of building it. And hopefully you guys can find out too, and don't waste all your money buying a lot of this stuff. If I end up having to remove the front braces, I don't know. Might have to put a short spool in there and try the Arrma drive shafts, and we'll go that way and just go lighter. If I end up having to remove that front drive shaft. But stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching.